to another episode of Meetings Around the World. In November 2007, I was in Hong Kong, where I had many opportunities to interview with different individuals who have a high interest in Chinese metaphysics. And in this episode, I'm very fortunate to have Sam Lam as my guest to discuss his experience with the I-Ching. Sam started learning Chinese metaphysics since the age of 11. In fact, he read many different books to develop a deeper insight in the subject. However, he was unable to reach this goal in the past. Today, Sam is able to predict the future very accurately. Indeed, he told me that he had helped one of his friends in finding an answer to a job-related uncertainty. And within 8 weeks, this event happened as what Sam has predicted. How can Sam do that? And what changed him? Let's find out the answer. And today I'm really glad to have Sam Lam as my guest. Welcome.
Listen, see you again. And plus,
pretty good yourself?
Not too bad, thank you.
Yeah, so Sam, I heard that you have been practicing Chinese metaphysics, mainly in face reading and augury before. Is that true?
Yes, I probably picked up face reading when I was about 11 years old. But by reading books, not really following a methodology until I met Mr. I-Ching way back in around 2000 at that time. So I started picking up face reading lessons from Mr. Chang.
Okay, how about augury?
You mean the I-Ching?
Yeah,
the I-Ching, that's probably the second course I picked it up from Mr. Chang at that time. That's something I had never been able to tap into when I was young. It's too complex.
Okay.
It was quite complex at that time.
Can you explain a bit more?
Because I-Ching was written many years ago, a few thousand years ago, and the literature itself needs a lot of, you need to have a knowledge of the literature before you can understand it. So Mr. Chang was able to explain it in very, I would say, easy to understand. And by learning that way, I-Ching is demystified. Okay.
Well, what kind of use do you use I-Ching for actually?
According to Mr. Chang at that time, I-Ching is basically to explain the rule of the universe. Because there are a set of rules that this universe follows, and I-Ching is a way to identify the path of how the universal is moving. So learning I-Ching allows us to predict the future. And that's something that I found it quite fascinating.
Well, I guess some of the viewers and myself are really interested in the predicting side. Can you tell us a bit more, like how do you use I-Ching to predict things or the future?
As you know, the I-Ching, including the symbols, right? And there are 8 different symbols in I-Ching, and the permutations become the 64 Hua, the symbol or the symbolization.
The hexagram.
The hexagram of it. So by understanding each symbol, hexagram, you are able to predict the future. So one example that I was able to use is to predict one person came to me, one friend came to me and said he just lost a job. He just lost his job and was trying to find out whether he is able to locate another job in the near future. So by giving numbers, I can use the numbers to come up with the hexagram symbols and determining the opportunity or the probability of having a new job in the near future. So the timing was quite exact. You can tell that
really accurate.
it's pretty accurate, and it's about 6 weeks or 8 weeks, within the future.
Wow.
So he wasn't on that. I would say he was quite skeptical about that. But a few weeks later, the opportunity actually came, and he actually got the job. So it's quite amazing how the accuracy. I don't use it that often, but when I use it, the accuracy is quite high.
Okay.
I would say every time that I use it, I would say the prediction actually came true.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you practice it quite a bit, or?
I don't use it that often, as Mr. Chan taught us. You don't need to depend on it. Sometimes you need to try your best to do whatever you need to do instead of depending on the I-Ching to predict the future. So that's what I believe in. It's something that after you have tried your best and you still cannot come to a conclusion as to what the outcome is going to be, then you probably can use I-Ching to predict the future.
Okay. So how about, for example, when you try to predict something, do you need to ask a question, or do you just what's the procedure for it?
There are different ways in I-Ching, but the way that I learned from Mr. Chen is it's using it's called and it's a methodology of using numbers, okay, or using the time and date, okay, and by applying a formula and calculating two numbers.
Okay.
The numbers become the top portion of the hexagram and the bottom portion of the hexagram. And by using that, you then derive the transitional piece and the final outcome of it. So that is the way that I use. It's basically a calculation of mathematical deduction based on a formula. And of course, once you have the number, from 1 to 8, each number represents a meaning, and you base on that to identify what the outcome could be.
Okay. But for example, if I have a question, let's say I want to ask something about the future or some events happen in the near future, do I need to ask questions like when you calculate or come up with a number? Do you need
you have to specify the question that you have in mind.
Okay.
And then based on that particular question, then let's say you give two numbers.
Okay.
And the top number represents something, and the bottom number represents the other thing, right?
So really, you need to really ask some really specific questions.
Yes, you have to. If you don't ask a specific question, the answer will be vague, and you have no idea what the outcome will be.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
see.
so you have to be very specific. Just like one friend, she wasn't able to determine whether she's going to get married soon. And by giving a number, I was able to say yes. There is a the possibility of a marriage very soon, and that happens within the next month or two. Right?
Okay.
So that is something that you can use I-Ching to predict.
So if some of the viewers want to learn about I-Ching or augury or predicting the future, any suggestion for them?
I would say you have to understand the philosophy behind I-Ching. I-Ching, I would say the formula itself is not that complex, but then each number or each symbol represent so many things, and that is based on the philosophical interpretation of I-Ching itself. I would say read some books, understand the background of it, understand the philosophy behind it.
Yep.
And then you probably will be able to pick it up more easy, and then you can interpret, the outcome more accurately, because it is based on what your knowledge and understanding of I-Ching itself, not just simply based on the symbol and use it to predict the future.
Now, we understand something about Sam's experience with the I-Ching. But remember, he said he also practiced face reading. Sam told me the accuracy level of face reading is in the high 90s, especially in predicting someone's personality. Well, to learn more about Sam's experience, stay with us for the next episode of Meetings Around the World. See you next time. This program is brought to you by IC Global Solutions.